Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiriye Nashtaprayeshu Avadareshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhagavati Naistiki. So continuing with the discussion on Bhagavad Gita, chapter 1, observing the armies on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, text number 28 onwards. So last time we discussed how Arjun asked Krishna to take his chariot in the middle of the two armies. And Krishna took the chariot right in front of Dronacharya and Bhishmadev. And now Arjun said, I want to look at those who have assembled here to fight. So now Arjun is getting confused. Arjun vacha drishtuvemam svajanam Krishna yuyutsum samapastitam sidanti mam gatrani mukham cha parishushati. Arjun said, my dear Krishna, seeing my friends and relatives present before me in such a fighting spirit, I feel the limbs of my body quivering and my mouth drying up. See, why is it happening? Arjun knew who all are coming, but when he saw them personally on both sides, then this is the symptoms that he's experiencing. So let's see what Prabhupada says. Any man who has genuine devotion to the Lord has all the good qualities which are found in godly persons or in the demigods. Whereas the non-devotee, however advanced he may be in material qualifications by education and culture, lacks in godly qualities. As such, Arjun, just after seeing his kinsmen, friends and relatives on the battlefield, was at once overwhelmed by compassion for them who had so decided to fight amongst themselves. As far as his soldiers were concerned, he was sympathetic from the beginning, but he felt compassion even for the soldiers of the opposite party, foreseeing their imminent death. And while he was so thinking, the limbs of his body began to quiver and his mouth became dry. He was more or less astonished to see their fighting spirit. Practically the whole community, all blood relatives of Arjun, had come to fight with him. This overwhelmed a kind devotee like Arjun. Although it is not mentioned here, still one can easily imagine that not only were Arjuna's bodily limbs quivering and his mouth drying up, but he was also crying out of compassion. So maybe other acharyas have explained in other commentaries that he was also crying. Such symptoms in Arjun were not due to weakness, due to his soft-heartedness, a characteristic of a pure devotee of the Lord. It is said, therefore, yasyasti bhaktir bhagavati akinchana. One who has unflinching devotion for the personality of Godhead has all the good qualities of the demigods. But one who is not a devotee of the Lord has only material qualifications that are of little value. This is because he is hovering on the mental plane and is certain to be attracted by the glaring material energy. So, wonderful purport by Prabhupada is saying because he is a genuine devotee, he has this compassion in his heart. And because he is a devotee, Krishna's Mahamaya is not acting on him. It's Yog Maya that was acting on him. But if we look at from our perspective, the Bhagavad Gita, Arjun understood Bhagavad Gita. Arjun is an associate of Krishna. He doesn't even need Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is spoken for us. So his opening sentence, Drishtavevam Swajanam Krishna. My dear Krishna, seeing my friends and relatives present before me. Now, Swajanam Krishna, that's a very important word. Now, Arjun is thinking, oh, these are my swajans, these are my friends and relatives based on his body. And when somebody or anybody who's in that consciousness, definitely he'll going to be confused, perplexed. And it is going to give him lots of miseries. If he had thought, and after he listened to whole Bhagavad Gita, he fought, he understood Bhagavad Gita that we are not this body, we are spirit souls. If he had thought at this time, oh, they are all spirit souls covered by body, of course it's my duty to fight, Bhagavad Gita wouldn't have been spoken. And he's a devotee, he should be at that level of realization. But Krishna's Yog Maya covered him, but Krishna's Mahamaya covers us because we are not spiritually advanced. So we also say, Drishtvevam Swajanam Krishna. Of course, Yuyutsam, it's not the fight that Arjun had to participate in, but we also have fights every day. Different kinds of fight, physical or mental or emotional, some miseries, some issues are always going on. But we have to go beyond it. We have to transcend all these issues, all these problems, all these miseries. That's why Bhagavad Gita is spoken. So Arjun was thinking, they are my swajans, they are my relatives and friends. How can I fight with them? And they have assembled here to fight. Yuyutsum samupastitam. They have assembled here to fight. And the problem with this war was Arjun had to kill them to win. There was no other way out. Because from both sides, the conch shells were blown. Of course, the conch shell of the beginning of fight was not blown yet, but both sides' conch shells were blown, so there's no backing out. And also, Pandavas, Kauravas, especially Duryodhan, headed by Duryodhan, they were not ready to give them any place to rule. The Pandavas are Kshatriyas, they cannot live without ruling. Duryodhan took away their kingdom, Indraprasth. He didn't even give them 5 villages. And then it said that Krishna asked him, okay, not even 5 villages, give them 5 houses. That's all. But Duryodhan said, I will not even give them even that much land where they can drive a pin into. So the fight had to be there because without fight, they could not live. They could not carry on. And the fight means they had to kill the other side. Now this question of perplexity. And now when he was started to think, these are my swajans, these are my relatives, based on the body, not based on soul. If he had started to think of that they are based on the soul, then his best friend, best relative is sitting right there on the chariot. Krishna is there. He is the closest person with us in our heart, even if we look at physical proximity. Soul and super soul are sitting in the heart. And super soul, Paramatma, always goes with the soul, no matter how many bodies we change, we take, how many times we, whether we are in insect body or human body or any other body. Paramatma is always there with us. So he's the closest person. And closest person also as Krishna is sitting on his chariot. But he is thinking, based on my body, these are my relatives. And that is when he got confused. And that's when we also get confused. How to do my duty properly. Many times it happens that when we start taking up devotional service seriously, then our relatives, our parents, our spouses, they get alarmed. Oh, why is he going to the temple regularly? Why is he chanting? Why he has brought the deities at home and he's serving, or he's becoming a sannyasi or this or that. But no, that's not the case. The real sense of duty should be towards Krishna, and that is our real relationship. Rest of the relationships will end in this life only. That doesn't mean we don't do our duties, don't do our take care of our responsibilities towards our bodily relatives also. We should, in every way possible, we should serve. We should take care. But they are our relatives only for one lifetime. What about next lifetime? What about previous lifetime? Where are our relatives from previous lifetime and previous millions and millions of lifetimes? So our real relationship is with Krishna. And this is the whole science of self-realization. And real duty towards our relatives also is to engage them in the service of Krishna, to let them understand what is their constitutional position, real dharma. And when one performs that dharma properly, we perform our material duties also properly. Material duties are not just, okay, I provide good money to my children, a good house to my wife, and what about next life? Oh, I don't know anything about it. Maybe they'll go to hell. I'll also go to hell because I'm committing so many sins. But that's not real duty. In fact, Bhagavatam is very strongly worded. It is said in Bhagavatam that one has no right to become a father, a mother, husband, relative, demigod, guru, if he cannot liberate his dependents. One has no right to become, or at least take them on the path of liberation. Liberation means bhakti. So this is our real duty. The rest, yes, one has to do whatever best he can. Education, good life, health, house, whatever facilities, yes, one should. But the real duty we are forgetting, and this is how Arjun starts his. He is getting confused. Drishtvevam Swajanam Krishna, because he is thinking on the basis of body. He could not think beyond that. And Bhagavad Gita takes him, through him, all of us, out of this confusion of life and puts us on the right path. So he further says, Svepathuscha sharire me roma harshascha jayate gandivam sransate hastam tvakachav paridayate. So look at his situation. My whole body is trembling. My hair is standing on end. My bow gandiv is slipping from my hand. And my skin is burning. There are two kinds of trembling of the body and two kinds of standings of the hair on end. Such phenomena occur either in great spiritual ecstasy or out of great fear under material conditions. There is no fear in transcendental realization. Arjuna's symptoms in this situation are out of material fear, namely loss of life. This is evident from other symptoms also. He became so impatient that his famous bow Gandiv was slipping from his hands, and because his heart was burning within him, he was feeling a burning sensation of the skin. All these are due to a material conception of life. And it happened so much to Arjun that his famous bow Gandiv was slipping from his hands. Arjun had taken a vow when he got Gandiv bow, and he was known as a best archer, that anybody who tells me to put down my Gandiv, I'll kill him. This is how much he was proud of having Gandiv, and he was so confident on his skills. And he's a Kshatriya. Kshatriya means ready to fight, ready to defend. So it so happened after the war, or during the war, when Karna was in the battlefield. So Karna came to fight with Yudhishthir, and he defeated Yudhishthir Maharaj. He injured him, defeated him, but he let him live because Karna said, my real fight is going to be with Arjun, not with you. And I have given vow to Mother Queen Kunti that 5 Pandavas will always live. So I'm not going to kill you. So you go back to your camp and take care of your injuries. So Yudhishthira Maharaj came back to the camp. He was humiliated because for a Kshatriya to lose in a battle is very humiliating. So Arjun heard the news that Yudhishthira Maharaj is injured and he's gone back to the camp. So Arjun came running with Krishna to see what happened. Arjun came running, he entered the camp, and Yudhishthira Maharaj, and he asked, how are you, my elder brother? And Yudhishthira Maharaj said, did you kill Karna and come here? Arjun said, no, I didn't even fight with him. I came running to see you, how you're doing, if everything is okay. And Yudhishthira Maharaj got angry. How dare you leave the battlefield without taking revenge of my defeat, and you came running to the camp like a coward? What's the use of this Gandhi? Throw it away. Now there was a problem. Arjun had taken a vow that if anybody means anybody, tells me to put my Gandhi down, I'll kill him. And now it's my brother, Yudhishthira Maharaj, who has told me to put my Gandhi down. So he said, I have to kill you. Now Krishna had to come in between. Krishna said to Arjun, yes, you should fulfill your vow, but when did you say you have to kill the person physically? You never said that. Arjun got confused. What are you talking about? Yudhishthira Maharaj, what are you talking about, Keshav? Krishna said, if you insult somebody verbally, that is also equivalent to killing. So since you're not supposed to kill Yudhishthira Maharaj because he is supposed to be the next ruler, you kill him by your words. Then Arjun understood, and Arjun said, oh, you're telling me I'm a coward. You are a coward. You put our wives on the as a wager in the game of dice. So you put your brothers as a wager. You're a gambler. You're a cheater, and this and that. He insulted again and again. And Yudhishthira Maharaj, just with folded hands, he was listening with his head bowed down. And after insulting him, Arjun fell at his feet and asked for forgiveness. So this is Arjun. And now he has become, in such a situation, he has come to such a situation, such a mental condition, that his Gandhi bow was slipping from his hands. He was so attached to Gandhi, but his mind was not at all in control, seeing the relatives and friends on both sides, that he could not even control his bow Gandhi. So that means, also it means that because Gandhi was slipping because of his ignorance, that he's going to kill ignorance, and he's going to come at the right platform, right knowledge, so that he can carry on with his duties. So, but just look at the situation of it. Just look at it from material perspective also. His skin is burning, means he's crying and cannot control his mind. What is happening? How can I kill my relatives? And how can I? So many soldiers die on this battlefield. So further he says, Na cha shaknoma vasthatum brahmati cha me manah nimittani cha pashyami viparitani keshava. I am now unable to stand here any longer. I am forgetting myself and my mind is reeling. I see only causes of misfortune of Krishna, killer of the Keshi demon. So here, again, as I said, different names of Arjuna and Krishna are being used. So here he used the name Keshav. So let's see what Prabhupada says first. So Keshav means killer of Keshi demon. Due to his impatience, Arjuna was unable to stay on the battlefield, and he was forgetting himself on account of this weakness of his mind. And Prabhupada says, excessive attachment for material things puts a man in such a bewildering condition of existence. So excessive attachment. Attachment is natural, it is going to happen, but excessive attachment, or when it comes to the level of possessiveness, that makes a man bewildered. His mind cannot be in his control then. Bhayam dvitiya biniveshita syad, Bhagavad says. Such fearfulness and loss of mental equilibrium take place in persons who are too affected by material conditions. Arjuna envisioned only painful reverses in the battlefield. He would not be happy even by gaining victory over the foe. The words nimittani viparitani are significant. When a man sees only frustration in his expectations, he thinks, why am I here? Everyone is interested in himself and his own welfare. No one is interested in the Supreme Self. Arjuna is showing ignorance of his real self-interest by Krishna's will. So it is Yogamaya that is working. One's real self-interest lies in Vishnu or Krishna. The conditioned soul forgets this and therefore suffers material pains. Arjuna thought that his victory in the battle would only be a cause of lamentation for him. So he says, I cannot stand here any longer. And now he calls Krishna as Keshav. And Prabhupada, Keshav means killer of the Keshi demon. So Arjuna, while explaining his situation, he's telling Krishna, you're Kesha. You killed a Keshi demon. You never killed your grandfather Agdasen or your teacher Sandipni Muni. You didn't come to that situation where you had to fight with your brother Balaramji or your friends Gopas or your other cousins like Akrura and Uddhav and all these relatives. You never did that. How come you put me in this situation? So you're Kesha, you kill Keshi demon. You bring any number of demons in front of me, I'll kill them. But I cannot kill my relatives. He forgot Krishna had killed his own mama, Kansa, because Kansa was not on the right path, not on the path of dharma. So he killed him. But at this time, Arjuna, he is completely bewildered. So he says, I see only causes of misfortune. So there, as devotees have listed, that Arjuna actually gave 5 reasons for not fighting this war. They have listed them differently. So one reason is this, that I see only causes of misfortune. Means he says, I won't be happy. I don't see any happiness coming out of this war. So why should I fight? So one should fight, one should take up any endeavor if it gives him happiness. Otherwise, why do it? So Arjuna is like, I'm not going to do it. I don't see any happiness. Further, he says, Nacha shreyo anupashyami hatva swajanam ahave na kankshe vijayam Krishna nacha rajyam sukhani cha. I do not see how any good can come from killing my own kinsmen in this battle. Nor can I, my dear Krishna, desire any subsequent victory, kingdom, or happiness. So he is not seeing any happiness coming out of this war. Prabhupada says, without knowing that one's self-interest is in Vishnu or Krishna, conditioned souls are attracted by bodily relationships, hoping to be happy in such situations. So we always think that, oh, if I marry this person, I'll be happy. If I have a son or a daughter, I'll be happy. If I can do this, I'll be happy. If I can do that for myself, I'll be happy. Not gonna happen. We can be happy or satisfied for a while. Happiness is a different word actually. We can be content that I have this or I have that, but that's only temporary. Real happiness lies in the happiness of soul, not in the body, not in the mind. And when the soul is happy, automatically mind will be satisfied, body or senses will be happy. Automatically it will happen. But this path or this part of life, we don't know because we have no spiritual touch in our lives. So Prabhupada further says, in such a blind conception of life, means a bodily conception of life, they forget even the causes of material happiness. Arjuna appears to have even forgotten the moral codes for a Kshatriya. It is said that two kinds of men, namely the Kshatriyas who die on the battlefront and the person in the renounced order of life who is absolutely devoted to spiritual culture, are eligible to enter into the sun glow, which is so powerful and dazzling. Arjuna is reluctant even to kill his enemies, let alone his relatives. He thinks that by killing his kinsmen, there would be no happiness in his life. And therefore, he is not willing to fight. Just as a person who doesn't feel hunger is not inclined to cook. He has now decided to go into the forest and live a secluded life in frustration. But as a Kshatriya, he requires a kingdom for his subsistence. Because the Kshatriyas cannot engage themselves in any other occupation. Arjuna had no kingdom. Arjuna's sole opportunity for gaining a kingdom lies in fighting with his cousins and reclaiming the kingdom inherited from his father, which he doesn't like to do. Therefore, he considers himself fit to go to the forest to live a secluded life of frustration. So he's saying, if I kill my own relatives, even if I get victory, kingdom, I cannot see any happiness in this. The next three texts, very important. Obviously, all the verses of Gita are important. But here he says, Kim no rajena govinda, kim bhoga jivatena va, yesham arthe kankshitam no, rajam bhoga sukhani cha. Taime avasthita yuddhe pranastyakva dhanani cha, acharya pitra putras tathev cha pitamaha, matula shoshura potra, shyala sambandhinastatha, etana hantum ichhami, gnato api madhusudana. Api trailokya rajyasya heto kimnu mahikrite nihatya dharta rashana ka pritihi sya janardhanam. O Govinda, of what avail to us are a kingdom, happiness, or even life itself, when all those for whom we may desire them are now arrayed on this battlefield? O Madhusudan, when teachers, fathers, sons, grandfathers, maternal uncles, fathers-in-law, grandsons, brothers-in-law and other relatives are ready to give up their lives and properties and are standing before me, why should I wish to kill them, even though they might otherwise kill me? O maintainer of all living entities, I'm not prepared to fight with them, even in exchange for the three worlds, let alone this earth. What pleasure will be derived by from killing the sons of Dhritarashtra? So again, these four verses, Arjuna used different names of Krishna. So let's go one by one. Arjuna has addressed Lord Krishna as Govinda because Krishna is the object of all pleasure for cows and senses. So Govinda means one who gives pleasure to the cows and the senses. Go means cows and go also means senses. So Arjuna is saying, you are Govinda. You're supposed to give pleasure to me, my senses. But I don't feel any pleasure in killing these relatives. So how come you're Govinda? By using this significant word, Arjuna indicates that Krishna should understand what will satisfy Arjuna's senses. But Prabhupada says, but Govinda is not meant for satisfying our senses. If we try to satisfy the senses of Govinda, however, then automatically our own senses are satisfied. So that is the real meaning of Govinda. Not that I want money, Krishna, and I come to your temple and I put in your gulak 100 rupees or $10, and tomorrow I should get a job raise or get a promotion or make so much money in the business that I can buy $1 million home or whatever. And I think I'll be happy because you're Govinda. You're supposed to please my senses as I want. But that's not what Krishna is. Bhakti is not going to Krishna with a shopping list. Okay, you fulfilled all this desires. No. Bhakti means to please Krishna, to serve Krishna. And when we serve him, when he is happy, we become happy because our soul becomes happy and our senses, mind, definitely will become happy. Now, in the process, he may give us material benefits, material facilities. He may take them away. It's all up to him. Because he knows what is best for us. He knows what we need, not what we want. That's a difference between Krishna and the demigods. Demigods, we go to their temple. We can get material benefits, depending upon our qualifications also. We can get, but not necessarily if those material benefits will please us or will be beneficial for us. But Krishna will only give us what is beneficial for us, beneficial for our spiritual growth. And that's why generally people don't worship Krishna. So Krishna is Govinda. Govinda means we serve him, if please his senses, he'll definitely take care of us. So Prabhupada further says, materially, everyone wants to satisfy his senses. And he wants God to be the order supplier for such satisfaction. The Lord will satisfy the senses of the living entities as much as they deserve, but not to the extent that they may covet or they may become greedy. But when one takes the opposite way, namely when one tries to satisfy the senses of Govinda without desiring to satisfy one's own senses, then by the grace of Govinda, all desires of the living entity are satisfied. Arjuna's deep affection for community and family members is exhibited here, partly due to his natural compassion for them. He is therefore not prepared to fight. Everyone wants to show his opulence to friends and relatives, but Arjuna fears that all his relatives and friends will be killed on the battlefield and he'll be unable to share his opulence after victory. This is a typical calculation of material life. So materially, so we want to make money and we want to either show it off or enjoy it with our friends, with our relatives, with our family members. And if nobody is there, just imagine if nobody is there and if we have millions and millions of dollars, are we going to be happy? No. Who are we going to share it with? So this is Arjuna's mental calculations. But actually, this is our mental calculation. This is how we think. And Prabhupada said, this is a typical calculation of material life. The transcendental life, however, is different. Since a devotee wants to satisfy the desires of the Lord, he can, Lord willing, accept all kinds of opulence for the service of the Lord. And if the Lord is not willing, he should not even accept a farthing. Means he should not even accept a penny. So it's all up to the Lord. And there are devotees who have had opulence, like Yudhishthira Maharaj also after the war. He was a king of the whole world, Parikshit Maharaj, emperor of the whole world. But they did not accept anything for their own. Means when the time came, they left everything. They just dropped everything and went to the forest. They were not attached. Arjun did not want to kill his relatives, and if there were any need to kill them, he desired that Krishna kill them personally, because he used a name here, Madhusudan, that you are Madhusudan, you are killed a Madhu demon, so you kill them. You are Govinda for me, you are Govinda. I should just be happy, and you kill all these demons, because you have come here. You say, later on Krishna says, Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam. But vinashaya cha dushkritam, he comes to kill the demons, yes, but he also comes to kill the demoniac consciousness. He gives his instructions in form of Bhagavad Gita, or he performs his pastimes so that he kills our demoniac consciousness also. So then and then only we can enjoy properly. So if Krishna had killed all these demons, then where was the question of killing this demoniac consciousness, ignorant consciousness, so that we can enjoy? His real name is Govinda, and Govinda means he wants us to enjoy completely, fully, but spiritual enjoyment, not material. So that difference is what we have to understand. At this point, he did not know that Krishna had already killed them before their coming into the battlefield, and that he was only to become an instrument for Krishna. This fact is disclosed in following chapters. So Krishna, when he showed his universal form to Arjuna, he showed, I have already killed them. Means I have already made up my mind to kill them. They're not going to go home alive. You become an instrument and fight. Nimitta matra bhava savesachi. As a natural devotee of the Lord, Arjuna did not like to retaliate against his miscreant cousins, but it was the Lord's plan that they should all be killed. The devotee of the Lord does not retaliate against a wrongdoer, but the Lord does not tolerate any mischief done to the devotees by the miscreants. The Lord can excuse a person on his own account, but he excuses no one who has done harm to his devotees. Therefore, the Lord was determined to kill the miscreants, although Arjuna wanted to excuse them. So as a devotee, devotees are very soft-hearted. They don't want to retaliate against any wrongdoer. But here, Krishna wanted Arjuna to kill, because first of all, he wanted Arjuna to get the credit, get the glories of winning this war. And at the same time, he wanted Arjuna to become an instrument in Krishna's hand, means fully surrender. He also wants us to fully surrender unto him. This is the instruction he gave in the end, towards the end of Bhagavad Gita. Full surrender means don't think, we should not even consider, oh, this is good, this is bad for me, and this is, I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to do this, I'm only going to do this. Full surrender. It is difficult. I know it is difficult. And slowly, when we develop faith, we start surrendering slowly. And surrender doesn't mean we're gonna become his slave or slave of some panda or pujari or something. No, we have to follow the instructions of Bhagavad Gita. That is surrender. When he says, Man mana bhav madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru, there is no slavery. And he says that you do this. Why? Because if you do this properly, you'll come back to the spiritual world. And here in our Bhagavatam class, we are studying in Vrindavan how Mother Yashoda is chastising Krishna. She bound him up. She's threatening him with a stick. This is what happens in the spiritual world. Of course, not every day. But this gives pleasure to Krishna. This is bhakti. This is surrender. Krishna comes under direct control of the love of the devotees. And this can only happen if we follow his instructions properly. And this is what he wants from us. Just follow, just surrender, come back to me and be happy forever, eternally in the spiritual world. But first we have to surrender our egoistic tendencies, surrender our rebellious tendencies. No, I'm not going to do this. This is not good for me. This is not good for me. Whatever Bhagavad Gita says, it's all good for all of us, all the souls. We just have to follow. And here Arjuna is hesitating to fight. And Krishna, as you can see in the picture, Krishna is smiling. What is this? What does he want? But through Arjuna, he's giving us this knowledge. And then Arjuna uses another name for him as Janardhan. Now, Janardhan means maintainer of all living entities. So in one word, he's saying, you are Janardhan, you are maintainer of all the living entities, and why you want me to fight and kill so many people here? What kind of Janardhan you are? Now, he's a real maintainer of all living entities, all. Even their bodies also. But if they have done something, committed some sin or created some disturbance, they have to be punished. But this is also their maintenance, because then they don't have to go to hell. If they get killed by Arjuna, then these people, they don't have to go to hell and suffer over there. And in fact, Prabhupada also mentioned, if those fighters who fight and die in front of, in the battlefield in front of Krishna, they'll all get liberated. So this is real Janardhan actually. He's going to liberate everybody who dies over there. But Arjuna doesn't know this, and that's why he's confused. But he is real Janardhan, real Govinda, real Madhusudan. That's what it means. Okay, so Arjuna here is saying so far that I don't see any happiness. Now, next logic or excuse he's giving. Papameva shretasman hatvetana taina tasman narha vayam hantum dhartra rashran subandhavam swajanam hi katham hatva sukhina syama madhava. Sin will overcome us. So this is second excuse, that this is sin. I'll be sinful. Sin will overcome us if we slay such aggressors. Therefore, it is not proper for us to kill the sons of Dhritarashtra and our friends. What should we gain, O Krishna, husband of the goddess of fortune? How could we be happy by killing our own kinsmen? According to Vedic injunctions, there are 6 kinds of aggressors. A poison giver, one who sets fire to the house, one who attacks with deadly weapons, one who plunders riches, one who occupies another's land, and one who kidnaps a wife or kidnaps one's wife. Such aggressors are at once to be killed, and no sin is incurred by killing such aggressors. Such killing of aggressors is quite befitting any ordinary man, but Arjuna was not an ordinary person. So such aggressors, in fact, Duryodhana and his party had done all six of them against Pandavas. So Duryodhana had given poison to Bhim when he was little, and then he tried to burn them in Lakshagraha, all the five Pandavas, including Mother Kunti. He attacked them with deadly weapons. He plundered their riches in the game of dice. He occupied their land. He is not even ready to give the land back. And kidnapped a wife. He did not kidnap, but he tried to disrobe Draupadi in front of everybody. That was a big sin. So from all these six aspects, Kauravas were supposed to be killed. And this is according to Vedic injunctions, not any code of law. But Arjuna is still not ready to kill them. And he says they are aggressors. He says they are aggressors. Atatai. But he's still not ready to kill. He was saintly by character, and therefore he wanted to deal with them in saintliness. This kind of saintliness, however, is not for a Kshatriya. Although a responsible man in the administration of a state is required to be saintly, he should not be cowardly. So there are two words, saintly and cowardly. One has to be saintly. One should come to the level of spirit soul, but not cowardly. Arjuna also fought this war, and Prabhupada gives the example. For example, Lord Ram was so saintly that people even now are anxious to live in the kingdom of Lord Ram, Ram Rajya. But Lord Ram never showed any cowardice. Ravan was an aggressor against Ram because Ravan kidnapped Ram's wife, Sita. But Lord Ram gave him sufficient lessons, unparalleled in the history of the world. Not only Ram, even Hanumanji gave him sufficient lessons. But he just would not give Sita back. And Ram just killed, not just killed Ravan, he killed the whole Rakshasa dynasty. Because saintliness and cowardliness, they don't go together. They're two different things. Saint doesn't mean one just sit down in one place and everybody comes and kicks him or insults him or spits on him and he doesn't do anything. Of course, those kind of saints, if they can tolerate and if they are at such a level, Krishna will come and protect them. That's for sure. But at the same time, they're supposed to protect themselves. Just like in Bhagavatam, there's one story comes of a snake. It was a very poisonous snake. So he was in a village and people were very afraid of even walking on the path where that snake was. So Narad Muni happened to come by and he saw that snake and he said, "So snake, why do you scare all these people? They're just going on the path on their work and you're scaring them and you're killing them." So Narad Muni said, "Don't bite anybody." Snake said, "Okay," because Narad Muni, being the spiritual master of the whole universe, if he comes, snake also listens to him. So he said, "Okay, I'll not bite." So Narad Muni went away. And snake did not bite and he did not even scare anybody, and villagers were walking on that path. And some village boys, they saw the snake is not doing anything, then they started throwing rocks at him, beating him up with sticks. But snake would just sit down and not do anything because Narad Muni had told him not to bite anybody. So after a few days, Narad Muni came back to see how the snake doing. And snake was all injured, bruised, and he was like, "Narad Muni, I followed your advice. I did not bite anybody." Narad Muni said, "I said don't bite anybody. I did not say don't scare anybody. I mean, if somebody tries to attack you, you have every right to defend yourself. So you can just shoo them away. You can show them your hoods and they'll all run away. Don't bite them." So because we have this body as a property of Krishna to be used in the service of Krishna. Not that Krishna has given us this body so anybody and everybody can come and harm us so that we can't even do our services properly. So this is where Arjun was wrong. Arjun considered that rather than kill his own kinsmen for political reasons, it would be better to forgive them on the grounds of religion and saintly behavior. He did not therefore consider such killing profitable, simply for the matter of temporary bodily happiness. After all, kingdoms and pleasures derived therefrom are not permanent. So why should he risk his life and eternal salvation by killing his own kinsmen? Arjun's addressing of Krishna as Madhav, or the husband of the goddess of fortune, is also significant. He wanted to point out to Krishna that as husband of the goddess of fortune, he should not induce Arjun to take up a matter which would ultimately bring about misfortune. Krishna, however, never brings misfortune to anyone, to say nothing of his own devotees. So Arjun thought, you are Madhav. Madhav means husband of goddess of fortune. So how come you want misfortune to fall on me? Because this is very sinful if I kill my relatives, even if they are aggressors. And Prabhupada clarified, Krishna never brings misfortune to anyone if we follow his instructions. That's all. So Krishna will completely destroy all his doubts and give him much more lesson with much more understanding in the following chapters. So we'll stop here, see anybody has any questions or comments. Okay, so you all have a safe and wonderful day. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.